This week on Not Just Another Sex Podcast.
We live in a society where people, classify things and label things. They say that a man is supposed to cry, or a man is the provider, or a man is this, or a man is that. And then you woke up and you're like, damn, I'm not any of these things that they're talking about. Like, yes, your testosterone is ruling you, but you have a certain, the divine feminine aspect to you, and you have to accept that aspect of yourself. For you to be a man, you have to define that, what that means to you, not what your mom said or your dad said or some girl that you dated created an image in her head of what a man is supposed to be, and now you trying to be that to please her, or what the system or CV and anybody is telling you is how you create a new pattern.
Hey, sugar. I feel like there are so many different things that I need to learn as an adult. I'm this nasty on a regular day, like on a Tuesday. I am your host, Samaya Burton, and don't worry, it's not just another sex podcast. Hey, you guys, welcome back to Not Just Another Sex Podcast. My name is Samaya. I am your host, and thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. So, of course, I have an amazing episode for y'all. I don't think that has ever changed. But before we get into it, we have to start off with the review. So this one I'm going to do a little different. I'm not exactly sure when this is coming out, but y'all know I just stay transparent and update y'all as things happen with me. I know that I was offline for a while, and instead of reading some of the reviews, I want to read some of the DMs that you guys sent me. These got me through, okay? Knowing how y'all feel and knowing that y'all are there for me, knowing that I have community outside of my friends and outside of just the content house, but you guys, like, that we really have established and we created a community that means something to me. So I just want y'all to hear how y'all be talking to me nice, all right? Hey, Samaya, I'm a weekly listener to your podcast, and it's a healing tool for me. Is everything okay? Are you okay? Where are the episodes? To be honest, I really hope all is well. Hey, beautiful. I just wanted to send some positivity your way. I want you to know that everything that you desire, need, and want will be yours. You've worked so hard, and there have been many bumps in the road, but I don't want you to give up. I listen to your pod, and unlike most, I actually hear you because it's inspiring. I rebuke the spirit of depression and sadness as well. Your spirit is always so high, and nobody but the devil will want to see you low. Whatever it is that... Damn me. My eyes are sweating. Whatever it is that may be having you feeling down, fight back. And if it's not hell, still fight to protect your peace. I can't wait to hear from you in your next upload. I'm rooting for you, and I want you to know that you are loved. I'm gonna make that the last one because my eyes are watering, and y'all know we need this face to last because we got a good episode. Look here, I just want y'all to know thank you so much for hearing me. Y'all know their words. They do something for me. Words of affirmation, just checking in, just knowing that it's not just like, hey, where the stuff at, but are you okay? It means everything. But with that being said, please do not stop leaving reviews. We do want you to keep dropping those under the episode, under the YouTube, all the things. But yes, so thank you for that. All right, so on to the episode. Today I have an amazing guest, and he keeps me laughing on the ground. But I have Paul's Law with us today. So say, hey, Paul.
Yellow. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you for being here. I'm super excited to have you, and I definitely appreciate you coming on such short notice. He posted that he was going to be in Atlanta, and, it seemed like great timing. He responded, and I know your DMs probably got a lot of folks in there, so...
Don't say that too loud. There's people with about 52 weeks old messages. That's probably looking like, damn, you responded quick, huh?
Divine timing, because honestly, stuff get lost in the DMs, and you just happen to see it. And we were on a recording weekend, so I was very grateful for it. So I'm glad that you're here. So you're gonna walk through today's episode with me, okay? You ready?
I'm ready.
You got it.
Let's do it.
All right. So we're going to go through the adult tip of the day and Twitter talk, and then we're going to have you introduce yourself just so we can get a little warm up in, okay? All right. So the adult tip of the day is just a 5-minute segment because adulting is hard, and it can encompass so many different things, whether it's like my therapist says, or like, oh, here's a life hack, or here's how to make your fruits last longer, or stuff like that. It could be a lot of different things. And so sometimes the simplest things can be adulting. And so we just want to leave you with some type of think piece or something like that. That way, no matter what, if you don't do anything else today, you adult it for the day. Okay. So today's adult tip of the day is from the Fall Backup. I don't know if you guys follow him on the socials, but he's very spiritual. I believe he's a channel. And I really like his page. And he said, replace discipline with devotion and you will not quit. Discipline is a punishment. Devotion is when you are inspired by love. Stay devoted with love instead of punishing yourself to get it done. And I really, really love that. And I feel like that's a place that I'm in now. But please feel free to add to it or let me know what you're thinking. And I ask you because your name is Paul's Law, which is love always wins.
Yep, and that's the law.
Yeah.
And the law correlates with a whole lot of discipline. And the love that always win, a lot of people, have their own definition of what their love is, which is only right. You're entitled to have your own definition. But me, I say, it's a choice. Like, it's an energy, it's a frequency. And it's something that you can practice every day. Like it's basketball, like you Steph Curry and you take, 1,000 jump shots a day, and eventually it will become like a reflex. You can close your eyes and you just know that you basking in it. And when you rise up every day, everybody has choices to make, and you could either start off on the wrong side of the bed or the right side of the bed. So you decide to operate out of love on a daily, and the more you practice that over and over again, initially, that you will become love, because your consistency becomes your frequency. And love is a frequency that we all have free access to. So you're consistent with what you want. If you want love, become it by practicing it over and over again, and by giving it to yourself.
Yeah. For me, I definitely used to be a disciplined person. Like, I need to do this. I'm gonna do a challenge, and I'm gonna get it done. Because if I decide something, I'm also gonna get it. So, and I'm not gonna wait forever for it. If it's something that I have control over, and it feels like the timing is right, I try to commit to it. But I've changed, and I realized that doesn't work anymore, because like I've really surrendered to time, and I've surrendered to a timeline that isn't mine, And so with that, it's a constant struggle, because even if I know the right thing, I don't want it to feel like a storm inside of me, like it's difficult I don't want to feel unhappy even if I'm doing the right thing. You know what I mean? Because how I feel is valid, right? And so what I really loved about this is that I've been moving in a more devoted manner with myself versus discipline, because even when it comes to like eating or working out, I'm doing it because I love me. I like how I'm doing it because I love myself, like for nothing else. And when I'm doing things for that reason, it feels easier to commit to and to do it, and also to take proper breaks. Like the breaks that you feel, it doesn't mean like, oh, I didn't work out today, so I don't feel good about myself today. Like, I did this yesterday. My body deserves an active rest day today. Like, I'm not doing it for something. I'm doing it because I'm literally paying attention to my body and saying that my body is valid, however it's feeling, So I really love that. All right, so we're going to move on to Twitter Talk. So this is a segment that really is to pay homage to Black Twitter, because even though it's not even called Twitter no more, right? It's called something else. It really was a big thing, because Black Twitter is the culture. It's nothing but the culture.
I'm not on Twitter, but I'm aware.
Yeah, and it's like even if it's on the gram, you'll see people post their tweets and they go viral. Like, and with a lot of social media platforms, it doesn't even do that, right? But it's us that make it funny, make award shows funny. We make sadness funny. We share facts that you don't know, and so I just love the culture. So that's what this segment pays homage to. But also, like Twitter, it's a place where you can kind of have a little bit of the tea, kind of bounce around like ideas, not necessarily all factual things, but opinions and things like that. Sometimes it's a little bit more controversial. And so today I want to talk about vegans, because what kind of stuff you done heard folks say about vegans on the internet? So they be like, vegans so damn annoying.
Oh man, the first thing that comes to mind when you mention vegans is that vegans think that they're better than non-vegans.
Mm.
That's the first thing. Like, you know, everybody think because, you know, you eat a certain way or you trying to put them down because they eat like this. But it's not really that. Like, vegans don't give a damn. Like, you can have, you know, you can have your pig feet, your, and all of that around me. Like, it's not going to phase me or make you feel like you're less than me in any type of way. Because, you know, a lot of the times, like, when you watch somebody doing something and then it has the label healthy attached to it. So now you think that's something that, you know, everybody should be healthy. And then you're not doing that stuff that is considered healthy. And now you watching it and then you know you're doing something that unhealthy. So a little guilt plays in and you automatically like, probably think you better than me because you're healthy.
Projecting.
You project
Yeah.
yourself when the other person don't even give a damn. They just enjoying their salad. Like, so that's one of the things that I think about. Vegans think they better than everybody. Like,
Well, definitely. So I definitely put down judgment as one of those. But I would love to know, what was your thing into getting into your food journey period? I really don't want to label. I know that you are vegan, right? And you don't consider yourself a raw vegan. And you were telling me more about like your titles and how your relationship with them. I don't want to get too much into your intro because I want you to, you know, have a full. But when you got into those things, what was your deciding factor? Because that's another thing. A lot of people
I,
seek vegans and
I didn't decide this. Like, this was bigger than me. I didn't get sick and I needed to heal, so I went vegan. I wasn't fat and trying to lose weight, and I went vegan. I didn't get inspired by this guy, you know, online. I just, you know, had a wild spiritual awakening that pushed me into this. So, like, if it was up to me, I would have still been going to the corner store. Let me get a beef patty with cheese and cocoa bread and a black and mild and a Dutch. Go to the corner store, buy the teleport, and I'm good to go. So this was
teleport.
yeah, teleport is a
The
wine.
little red, the one that was having everybody going
purple,
crazy on the
purple
internet.
jug, and you know,
That liver
it's a big gallon. Well, it's very strong. It's cheap wine. Like, it tastes good and all that, but it'll do something to you.
Okay, so you definitely named a lot of the reasons. For me, it's not the animal. Like, don't get me wrong, I ain't trying to like kill the animal,
Me
nothing
too.
like that.
I tell
ain't
people
trying
this
to
ain't for
hurt
the
them.
animals. This is for me.
It's not.
It's just that the animals is safe because I'm eating like this, but this ain't for y'all. This
This-
got anything to do with me. Like,
This is fact. I know a lot of some people are doing it because they don't want to kill nothing with a face. Commendable. I'm not saying that's wrong, but that's not my reason. Some people are doing it like they do want to lose weight. That's not necessarily my reason. I think I'm getting to a point where I'm tired of giving my power away. And so for me, that doesn't have me on the road of being vegan just yet, but I feel a change coming. And so I'm just enjoying where I am right now. But it is a lot of, we'll blame capitalism or we'll blame these businesses and things like that. But it's like you went there to make it easier for yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that. But at one point, is the convenience killing us? And just saying, you know what? Why can't I make my own vegetable broth? I always have, you know, your vegetables in your refrigerator looking at you like, bitch, you went and bought more spinach. I'm still in here. Like, you could make your own vegetable broth. Like, just something that simple just lowers the sodium, right? But we don't make time for it. And so I'm just getting into a place of accountability that before I light into these corporations' asses about all the things they're doing crazy, part have I
what
just
am I
given
doing?
away?
Crazy? Like, yeah.
My power have I just given away?
But then again, the corporations, you know, are there for people, you know, just like corporations and religions and a lot of things are there for you not to feel responsible for yourself. Like, so a lot of people, you know, it's easy to say, hey, they did it. It's because of y'all. Like,
Yeah. I'm that's really, I think, what I'm a big integrity person. So just knowing some of the things that the US just doesn't even ban, like even the same companies will make a product for one country one way, healthier and everything. But over here they'll make it a different way. And the fact that the laws don't protect the people that live here. Like rat poison. They can have a lot of rat poison in their food and it'd be fine. So they'd be like, oh, this isn't safe. The regulations already ain't safe. So is it really safe? Like, it's a mind fuck.
but
that
then
I'm
again,
really,
people have to realize where we stand. Like, this is America. If you do your research, America is a corporation, and also it is labeled as the free country. Like, what are you free to do? Like, every goddamn thing from poisoning people. Like, so you have to know in the space that you're living in, like, and you also have the freedom to consume the things that they're doing. Like, so, I feel like it's a lot of people might see a lot of things wrong with America, but I feel like, it's the way that it's supposed to be. It's a leveled playing field. Like, it's literally the free country. Like, you have the choice, to harm and to kill yourself, and I'm giving you all the tools to do so.
Every single
And
one.
you have the choice to love and nurture and take care of yourself and be in the United States of America, where all the healthy stuff from all the products around the world that somebody in Africa might not have access to, you have access to them. So it's literally like in your hand. Like,
You have a choice.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. So, that's it for Twitter Talk. So I definitely want to move into our topic for today. But before we do that, please introduce yourself to my community. Let them know who you are, and just give us a little background on you and what you do if they may not have heard of you before.
Ooh. If you might have never heard of me before, my name is Paul's Law, Paulslaw, and the LAW stand for Love Always Win. And yes, Paul is my government name, or my mother named me. I am also an artist. I go by Crazy Real, and the crazy is basically the yin and the yang, what makes me whole and complete, and me accepting everything that I am.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
This
okay.
one, yes, your
Okay.
spotlight.
All right, keep going. Keep. I'm sticking in there. All right, I appreciate it. Like, okay, my camera,
Okay.
or bad.
All right. All right, so that's it pretty much for Twitter Talk. So before we get into our topic for today, I just want you to introduce yourself to my community, let them know who you are and just a little bit about yourself and how you got started and what you do and what we need for the basis before we get into it.
And by the way, you got a name for your community?
I don't.
You know?
We used to call them the Patreonies,
Mhm.
but I don't like that because that make it seem like it's a Patreon community and that's their
Mhm.
platform. We got a
Mhm.
name. Do you have a name suggestion?
I don't know. We're gonna have to work on it.
Okay.
I meant something gonna float through my mind before this wrapped up, but
Okay.
community. That's what y'all had to matter of fact, family. That's what
Fam,
y'all had to
yes.
I'm Paul's Law, Paulslaw, and the LAW stand for Love Always Win. It's the law. I am currently known as a health enthusiast in a way slash herbalist. I help a lot of people heal from a lot of things, like, which are public. I just posted a screenshot of somebody that I got off dialysis in about 90 days. I help people with fibroids, thyroid, diabetes, HSV, some of the things that they tell you is incurable. I'm also an artist, which is, initially what I was doing before I got into this. That's where that's my heart, and I go by Crazy Real on all platforms, and a crazy and a real is basically the yin and the yang, everything that makes me coming together and me accepting myself and being holy, which is what, and I'm also, a lot of other things. Like an entrepreneur, I'm a dad, and the list goes on and on. Like,
Talk. Don't feel
so
like
don't feel like, I'm just trying to stick here and as but yeah, I'm a whole lot of things. And the brand Wooshwear, I have a brand called Woosh, WOOSH, and the Woosh is a Creole word that means damn, and damn is a way of expressing yourself. You could say damn for damn near anything. So fashion is one of the ways that I freely express myself, like, and I feel like everybody should have a tool, that you tap in, which is in a way is what, connects you to source, because arts and creativity keeps us young. And, so that's what the brand is all about, finding the magic within yourself and tapping into it, and being free to express everything that you are and anything that you do. Like, when somebody sees something that you created, they should also see you in it. So that's what,
energy
the brand is all
transfers.
about. Yeah.
Energy transfers for sure. Well, I'm very proud of you and I'm excited to get to know you on this episode. So,
Thank you.
um,
Thank you.
yes. So tell us more about what your spiritual journey has been like because you come in and it's an energy. and it's wrapped up in how you present yourself, period. So like even just starting from when you text me back and text me, hey love, it's me, what do we need to do, whatever, just very kind. When you come in, you are in crystals, and
Mhm.
got some crystal girls in here, so it's like we notice the crystals. um and just even your hair is free form and things like that. And you talk about how becoming vegan wasn't a choice, it was a part of your spiritual awakening. So before we get started, I would love to hear more about like what your spiritual awakening kind of looked like when you knew that that's what was happening, and what has really transpired in that journey, you know?
Mm.
I know it's a lot, and
And
so
I know,
just
I
take it
know
from
when a
there.
lot of people speak about, their spiritual journey or their spiritual awakening, they automatically attach it, to that time where they feel like, their life changed and they're exposed to something new. I feel like, my spiritual journey started, before I came here. Like, when I was born, in the whole process and meet everything that I went through before my awakening, which I say happened around October, November that just passed, which made it like a decade. All those things led up and put me in situations to, for that awakening to happen at that exact moment. But it happens, around, well, a lot of while I'm paying attention, a lot of wild stuff happens during that season, like harvest season, like October, November,
Yeah.
you know, like during that time when everybody, doing spiritual work and all that stuff. But I had a wild, like, and how I would explain it, like somebody on the outside probably looking like, like it's because you didn't understand it. That's why you look. That's why it was wild. But I had a wild spiritual awakening, and it was kind of like a movie, like the movie Get Out. Like he was in a sunken place. I remember it like it was yesterday. Like I was sitting on the couch, I was sitting on the right, my kid's mother was on the left, and I literally was laying like this, and I got up and I was like, "What the fuck am I doing here?" Like seriously. And she looked at me, she grabbed the remote and threw it on the TV and broke the TV. And that day, like my whole life changed. Like around that time, like the type of music that people would hear from me now, it wasn't that. The way that I was
Mhm.
living, I was making music. I was, trapping out the studio, selling weed and pills and Molly and all this other stuff. So like, and as far as music, I was being looked at like one of the person that's that has the potential and everything in my neighborhood. Let's just say I was that guy in Orange, New Jersey. Like, oh yeah, he's, so like my whole reality blew up like from my relationship with my kid's mother and my family and my friends, like everyone that I know him. It's kind of like that day for like a good 2 month span, I saw everything different. Like and I describe it in a way of now I tell people I was the sacrifice going wrong because like starting with that day, I starting to see that, energetically and spiritually, it was a lot of things going on around me that I wasn't aware of. As far as like somebody being able to spiritually tie you down and being in a relationship with them, or you
Mm.
manipulate your energy to do certain things. And I'm Haitian. I was born in the voodoo capital of the
Right.
world. I'm aware of this stuff, but I wasn't growing in it. And as far as like certain things that people could do. So like it's kind of like from that day, like I started opening to a lot of things, like from the way that I viewed my mom and my brother and my kid's mother and my friends was not the same. I started really seeing them for stuff that, that was being done to me all around me that I was never aware of. I was just a regular, creative guy doing this thing, lollygagging, females around doing my thing and not knowing, it was other things that was done spiritually around me that was, making certain things happen from like during that time. I got kidnapped and a bunch of wild
Again.
yeah, I got kidnapped. They came for me like I was a chopper or Barack Obama or something like. So I went through a whole lot of stuff, and during the spiritual awakening, like I would say from like the first week, I like the stuff that people talk about now as far as like tapping in and connecting with your higher self. I experienced that without me knowing anything about it,
Right. You didn't
which
have to
is
do
what.
anything. You
And then out of nowhere during that time, I said I'm not eating meat. Is like it's kind of like I'm talking to myself in the way that I should be living. Like it's literally something that's happening spiritually. Like yo, if I don't go according to the stuff that they're telling me to do, like I'm gonna be harmed in some way. shape, or form. Like I had experiences where I felt like energy was stole from me, like like, and I felt also vice versa did the same. I don't know how all this stuff is happening. I've had experiences where I had like crazy strength where I can just pick somebody up. Like I had experiences that landed me in jail. Like basically the people that you see on the street corner that are crazy and walking around and talking to themselves, like I could have been one of those people. Like I ended up in jail when people are going crazy. I should have been in a crazy home. So it was a lot that transpired in like a month or two that opened my eyes to a whole lot. Like, and when I got like arrested for those 3 days, I'm from the hood. Like I had from 16 to like, let's just say 21, I was in and out of jail living wild. So while I was going through those experiences, I I was just in jail doing what I do and being in the street. But during the spiritual awakening, when I got arrested for whatever a day or two that I was in jail, that whole experience was totally different from the previous experiences because I felt like I was awoken and seeing everything for what they are. From the food that they feed you to when you get in jail, from the, TB shot that they give you, like it's literally like a whole process of keeping you docile, so you won't be able to understand the process that they put you through, which is, I feel like in a way I went through that for a reason, and that's why I understand like the real power of food, and that's why I understand and see whether it's voodooism and things in a certain way. Like everything that's around us is a tool, to manipulate energy. and
Yeah.
and I was at one point totally unaware to those things. So that's what pushed me into eating the way that I am. I realized the power of food, and when you're consuming a certain way, you're gonna be operating energetically in a certain way, and there's certain level of operations that you operate from that you will be unable to meet, be manipulated energetically. Like, so my spiritual awakening was wild, like movie wild, like
Resonate with that.
yeah.
I didn't have the same journey as you.
Mhm.
But my journey definitely came from I think it definitely ignited with my son. And of
Mhm.
course it started before, we were here and things like that. But I think that is what really jolted me because I have such a commitment to keeping him safe um, within the things that I can control. You know, you honestly, kids, they're so resilient and they do stuff that could break a bone all the time. But I'm talking about just what I can control. Um, and so I've worked through a lot of parental trauma and things like that. Um, and I think that the biggest challenge was this content house because it,
Mhm.
it felt like something that I wasn't qualified for. Um, I was, creating intimate content and things like that, and not like the OnlyFans way, like no, no offense to anyone that does, but not in that way, but just educating people on how to create the intimate life they desire. And sometimes it can feel like, am I cut out to teach people how to create the life that they desire when you were just teaching people how to fuck? Like,
Mhm.
and so it's kind of like how you said with the vegan thing where people will hear something and then they say it before and they're projecting. And so I had to, get that under control and just really understand that you are qualified for whatever spirit has qualified you for, whatever the creator has qualified you for. And that's just that. We need to go ahead and move on.
Mhm.
So this house has really challenged me spiritually because it's a trust. It's a trust that I heard what I heard to do what I'm supposed to do. It's a trust that even when things go low, that it's just a part of the process. You know what I mean? Not internalizing that and navigating those emotions as the child that I used to be, and really just creating a new path forward that I curated, right? That I got to work with spirit on, not one that was given on me, but like, okay, well, you do have all the options.
Mhm.
So I've been navigating that and it's landed me in van life. So that big old teal van you walked
Yeah, I
across, like,
saw that.
yeah, that's home. So, it's just, I don't know. I found out that I needed less. And I know that sounds crazy to be in this 10 bedroom of a place, but this is for the creators. This is for the creators. And I feel like sometimes I feel like all I need to be able to do is create and survive. Like, I don't want to, create, survive, and thrive. And now I'm in that space where we do van life, but we can create almost anything in here, and so it still feels really good, you know. So I'm navigating that journey. It's still very fresh, but I also like the mental challenge of it. I feel like it's like a sapiosexual's dream to just like have all these intricate things to process and go through and navigate your own energy even when things go wrong. Like, yeah. So it's a thing. All right. So your content is hilarious. I found you. B sent me one of your videos about we was we sprayed porcupine. What is it? Beaver.
Beaver's booty juice, and they call it castoreum. Like they put it in a lot of stuff that's made with vanilla, and a lot of products contain that in it.
Beaver booty. They all contain beaver booty.
They contain beaver's booty juice. But if you read the label, it sounds fancy. It says castoreum. Make you want to get it. Like feel fancy, right? Sound like you could put it in this cup. Castoreum.
Served on the rocks.
Zero on the rocks,
So one of the things I love about your content though is that it's like we can talk about it, it could be what it is, but we're gonna say what it is. Like we can't we have all these, I think that some of the layers confuse people. And that's not anyone's fault. It's supposed to be made that way. Like you don't come out the womb looking for what, searching for things or asking questions. And a lot of our the society that we live in shuts you down for asking questions. So by the time you become an adult, you're not asking questions, you're just doing what's been taught to you. And a lot of us feel very uncomfortable because once you get out of your parents' homes or when you do have full say-so over your life, you're just choosing the things that were given to you, but you don't really resonate with those things. And so you give your content in a way where it's like, no, you talking about that beaver's booty juice? Yeah, like that's what you want to put in a salad? Okay, no problem. Like, and so what do you think your approach, I want to know more about why you choose that approach, because it is funny, but also it's in a way that people could pick up on what you're saying. They're not confused, they're not bored, they entertained. And so just what happened with your page, with the way that you deliver content to people, information?
Ooh, I feel like, our past is what mold us. Everything that you're going through today is gonna initially mold you into something tomorrow. I have, my musical past that done made me comfortable of being in front of the camera, doing music videos and people. And I also, was in a comedy skit space,
Really?
So, I've also been kicked out of school for being a class clown and all that. So I feel like, a lot of us, we are currently in a space of everything is being put out there. Everybody's sharing something. Majority of people, you can tell, like, if you're, tapped in with yourself, you're like, that's an image that you're putting out there.
It's bullshit.
It's bullshit, you selling something or whatever. And I feel like, we are currently embarking into this space where, like a long time ago, it probably started with Real World and the reality TV of things that led up into the, love and hip hops and all of that. And I feel like it's going to be a time where reality TV is literally going to be in real time in your real life. So people are going to be watching you like your whole day. Somebody going to be at home just watching you like the Truman Show. I wonder what she's going to do today. And I feel like the way that it's going to go, like if people let it go that way without allowing themselves to start showing who they truly are, you're gonna have a bunch of fake individuals walking around like Hollywood become in real time like that. Yeah. Like in Hollywood right now, you get casted for a movie, you go over there, you do your movie, you get your mind out of that role, and you go back to being who you really truly are. And now it's gonna be just a bunch of people that's in a role in Hollywood like your whole damn life because you being recorded, you on live all day, you sharing a story, you doing all this and all
so
that.
Accessible.
It's so accessible. And I feel like, I'm like, I have to be myself in this space. Like the way that I answer the question, like, and a lot of like the stuff that I do, like it's not content. People call it content, but it's just me going live on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram, somebody asked me a question, and the same way that I would have answered it with my homeboy down the street is the same way that I answer it. Like if I use the F word or whatever the case may be, like I answer it as that, and I'm naturally humorous, and I'm naturally I would say sarcastic, even though not
You a
everybody
little spicy.
is, I'm a little zesty, like some people call me. You feel me? Like I'm just exposing, my true nature, like, and I
Yeah.
feel like it's needed because a lot of times, like with the title, doctors and healers and stuff like that, people always they don't just give it the title, but they also add a suit to the title. That's how so and so is supposed to look.
Yeah, they put
That's
you on the
how
block.
that's how so and so is supposed to sound.
Yeah.
But me, I do it in a way where it's kind of like, yes, like I've been down a journey of, depression and doing research and celibacy and all this stuff, trying to figure myself out. Along the way, I picked up some gems and a lot of stuff, like, and also the stuff that I do. I didn't do it because I planned on doing it. I was just your average guy on TikTok that just made up. That's like we was eating some cherries, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I'm eating today, and people gravitate towards it, and the way that I talked about it. And one day somebody left a comment in my comment section like, you should go live, and I'm like, what is that? Let's go see what. Let's go see what live is, and then we went to go see what live is. I ended up on live on TikTok while making a salad, and of course, we all know the power of food and how it connects all of us. You come together on Thanksgiving, the brunch that you go to with your friends, damn near everywhere you go, there's some type of food involved. And when
I
people see
mean,
food,
we there for the
they
food.
wanna know,
We there for the food.
what that is. So now me making the food, and I don't know what it is about me that made people feel like, I'm able to help them heal in some way, shape, or form. But I started going live. Somebody was like, yo, how do you heal from so and so? I answered it. I didn't answer it as in, oh, I'm a herbalist or I'm a healer or none of that. I answered it because, along my journey, I picked up some gems, whether it's from watching Dr. Sebi or Layla Africa or whoever else may be. I just had the answer to the question, and it just kept happening. And then, 'cause TikTok is very easy to grow a following while you're on live. If the people find you entertaining, they just hit the follow button right there. And I was answering the questions, and later on down the line, like somebody messaged me like, "Yo, do you know what you're doing?" I'm like, "What you mean?" Like he like, "Yo, my so and so called me and told me like you told them to do this, to heal themselves, and they actually heal from so and so." And then that moment, something like, "Yo, like I'm just going, I'm just eating food and I'm chilling,
Yeah.
being my, entertaining self, answering question, not consciously thinking like, yo, you're doing something, that's beneficial to other people." And then, out of nowhere, a company reached out to me like, yo, because they see people asking me for info, where do you get herbs and all of that. Yo, I have this company, like, I'll make you an affiliate, and, you'll get 15% of whatever people purchase. And within, a few months, they was like, made like a, let's just say about 6 figures or so, due to the people that I'm referring to them. And then, I started getting messages like, yo, I ordered this from you, but I didn't get it yet. I'm like, yo, you didn't order from me. I'm just an affiliate. You got to get in contact with that company. And now I'm going live. People are like, hold up. So the herbs that we getting is not from you? Like, nah, we want to get it from you.
Mhm.
And I'm like, nah, bro. I'm an artist. I'm a creative. That ain't my thing. I ain't about to be mixing no herbs or none of that. Y'all asking for too much. I'll give you the info. You go do your thing. Like, you feel me? Because one of my thing is like is put your money where your heart is. I don't want to do anything just for the sake of capitalizing off of it. That's why I do music, because I love it. I do art because I love it. Comedy skits because it comes naturally to me, and I feel like I'm not selling myself, like.
Yeah.
So it was something that I prayed on and meditated on for a few months. Like, yo, like the same love that I have for the music and the merch and the laughter, like, yo, will I have the same love if I decide, to start mixing the herbs and the powders and all that stuff? So, I had the answers that I needed along the way. I remember I was walking down the street when I still had a job, like a year or so ago. It was like I was saying about the people that's on the street corner. It was a homeless lady that was walked by up to me. She was like, "Hey, yeah, do it. Like you want to write pep." Just like that, like out of the blue, no conversation, no nothing. She just walked up to me like, "Yeah, go do it. That's what you're supposed to do." And I was like, you know what? I decided to do it, and along the journey, I grew, found some love for mixing herbs and the same love that I have for making
Hey,
music, you
mixing
know.
things back in the
Exactly, you
day.
know, exactly. And I was selling the weed and bagging it up. And it's funny
Wow.
because I thought about that. I don't want, you know, from selling, you know, that aspect
Yeah.
illegally to actually doing something that's beneficial to the people. So this totally like, which is why in a way I tell people I'm not a healer because your body naturally heal itself. I'm just giving the people the tools to heal themselves and a space to get all of, you know, everything that they need. Like, so I operate from a totally, you know, and I'm not one of those people that say the ego is bad for you. Like like I went through an ego death. It's just I know how to sit my ego down somewhere. And if I needed to do
That's it.
something, I'm gonna be like, yo, come here, bro.
We gotta do
I
something.
mean,
We
we
gotta
gotta
knock
do
something
something.
down.
Like
Yeah.
I need you real quick. But yeah, this has like this has, you know, this is bigger than me for my spiritual journey. For me going into about this, I didn't sit down or write a plan and say I'm gonna start selling herbs or become an herbalist. I just magically woke up one day and then I'm like, I'm doing this, you
Yeah.
know. So so I just stay open and vulnerable and allow, you know, the spirit that done, you know, smack me out of the reality that I used to live in, which is, you know, put me through the spiritual awakening, the dark night of the soul, and researching, and that led me into what I am now. So I'm totally open and free to seeing, you know, what's next to come. Right.
I love that. I can resonate with a lot of what you're saying, and
Mhm.
it all sounds familiar. It's like that's just what happens. Here they're about to get some of these pictures. I want you to be fly, so just move your hair out of here. Yeah, we just want to get all this gorgeous, good skin, right? This good skin, this vegan skin, right? I do want to know. First of all, I love when I have men on the show because it's just I don't get an opportunity to talk to them nearly as much, and so I want to know just from a man's perspective, what do you think are some of the things that either people do not realize that you went through that you had to overcome, or just even what can you recommend to the men that are listening, or to the moms that are raising their sons, or the dads that are raising their sons, about really crossing over into something new because everything about you has changed. Everything that you
Mhm.
were, it's grown. And so it's the same gifts, but applying those, changing, like you said, you woke up from this epiphany, right? And you
Mhm.
wanted to change, but nobody else in your life knew about that. They hadn't seen it.
Mhm.
They hadn't understood. They didn't get that confirmation. So you trying to switch up on me because you woke up from a dream, my guy?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So what is it like navigating that, and even, these fake boxes that society puts men in, and especially black men, with what they can do, and, you know, tapping into your femininity, because you talking about mixing herbs and you talking about herbs, Lord.
Yeah.
Talking about mixing,
Well, you're right though, because
you
the
know.
goddesses are the natural healers. Everything
Mhm.
about you guys, nature, from cooking to a hug to anything,
Talk about it.
everything about you says healing. So I'm literally in a space where, you know, that's not as far as like a masculine man that I'm not supposed to be in. And I'm also one of the I help people, you know, get rid of fibroids and uterus issues and help people get pregnant. So I'm doing something like that space. Like I done made videos about like one of the main viral videos was about the womb. And majority of the comment section was, you're not qualified to be talking about this because you don't possess that. You know, but to really answer your question, as far as like being a man, I don't believe there's no such thing as a man or the man. We live in a society where people, you know, classify things and label things, and now you have a bunch of individuals trying to fit into what they say that a man is supposed to be, or like a man is supposed to cry, or the man is the provider, or a man is this, or a man is that. And then you woke up and you're like, damn, I'm not any of these things that they're talking about, but I'm trying my best to be all of them, and I'm gonna die trying to be a man or the man.
Yeah.
Like, you feel me? And they don't tell you that as a man, like, yes, you know, yeah, testosterone is ruling you, but you also have estrogen in you. You have a certain, you know, the divine feminine aspect to you, and you have to accept that aspect of yourself. And for you to be a man, you have to define that what that means to you, not what your mom said or your dad said or some girl that you dated created an image in her head of what a man is supposed to be, and now you trying to be that to please her or what the system or CV and anybody is telling you. Because if you really tap in and connect with yourself, you know who you are if you stop lying to yourself for a minute. If you literally create a programming of being totally blunt and honest with yourself, and you do that for, let's just say, like they say, 21, doing something 21 days straight repetitively and being intentional about it, is how you create a new pattern. You can create a pattern of figuring yourself out and tapping in with yourself, and you will know who you are. Not There are dudes out there that come out of the womb with muscles. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like the little viral dude that was going around, about 5 years old, looking cock diesel, looking like Mr. T. And there are dudes that come out the womb looking frail. Like, you have to understand yourself on a physical and a mental and a spiritual level and start being who you are. Because if you pay attention to the world and you trying to be, super masculine, and you think it's because of the muscles, and now you're trying to fit into that. Now, I'm not saying that you're not supposed to be working out and nurturing, take care of yourself, or try to be the best version of yourself physically, mentally, and spiritually. But there are stuff that a lot of us are born with, like, which is naturally your thing.
And you
Like,
qualifying
and
it
you
and saying that
qualify.
everybody need patterns,
Exactly.
and
Not every,
I'm
no.
gonna lose
No, so
regardless.
now, bro, you built like this. You came out with a whole 8-pack, and now you expecting little Billy to go over there and spend the next 20 years trying to look like you. That's
Yeah.
not what you came here to do.
Yeah.
Your spirit chose this vessel and this body for a reason. If your spirit wanted to needed a full 6-pack all day, it would have chose somebody, the parents, to be that physical to fit into that body. So you have to choose, like, it's either you choose who you want to be, or you find out who you really truly are and be that, or you allow them to dictate, tell you who you are. So initially, you have to tap in and be like, yo, maybe I might be a little zesty, or maybe I might be a little macho all damn day. Like, but you have to come to terms with yourself, like, yo, this is who I am, and I'm comfortable into being that. A lot of us guys, we have the pressure of, let's just say, the title provider. Like, and there's a lot of people nowadays that switching things as far as, like, the soft life. People are looking at men, talking about the soft life. And I feel like we are
The
currently
men
in
need
this.
some soft life.
Exactly. I feel like we are in a state where I love it. A lot of people are expressing things that were unable to be expressed prior. Like, like, as far as, like, the provider and the men is supposed to do this and that. There was a point in time, yes, it makes sense. There wasn't so much, like, that the goddesses could do, to bring in income and to provide. Like I'm pretty sure everybody heard the first thing that the woman was doing to make money was selling themselves. That was the first thing. But nowadays, like, as far as I know, like, talent come from the word talentum, meaning capitalizing off your gift, meaning the stuff that come naturally to you, that is what's supposed to take care of you. So if you are currently in 2024, where we have access to all those things and all those tools, and you can create, you can have a podcast, you can do hair, you can do so many things, and now you're telling me that a man is supposed to be a provider. No, that's back when y'all was riding camels, and grandma wasn't able to do that. This is a whole new age. We need to change the spectrum, how we view men, and it's a whole lot of freedom going on around here. Now, seriously, it's a whole lot of, whether we want to accept it or not, because I'm in a holistic and spiritual community. There's the LGBT, there's all type of communities where people, are totally out here and being free and expressing themselves. And you have to allow somebody to be free and express themselves. And if you're not allowing them to do that, in a way, you're not free in a way. Because if you're totally free, you're gonna allow everybody else, like,
To be free.
to be free in a way. And I feel like, like what I said about, like, talent, like, if you say that a man is supposed to be the provider and a woman is not supposed to provide, you basically telling me that the goddesses doesn't have any gifts. They're skillless. They don't maintain any talents, or they don't bring anything to the world. They just supposed to be using us as the creators for us to do things. And I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
You feel me? So
You said two things, and one of them is a red flag, which is like when someone is just saying, like, understanding, like, well, what that person is doing is what works for them, and, like, trusting your gifts. I think that's a big one. There's one of the red flags to me when someone uses certain words. Some of these words are hot. You hear awakening a lot. You hear spiritual. You see the crystals, like they, and we come, you got all crystals. We love some of that. But only to find out that when they're saying certain things or judging people, it's like there's no way you could really understand, because if you done went through your journey of like
Mm-hmm.
spiritual awakening, you understand that you don't know what you know till you know. You don't
Mm-hmm.
know what you know till you wake up. You know what I mean? And so there's that you mentioned. And then next, I want to know, what do you think the 3 biggest hurdles were for you to get over? I know you mentioned that you even went on a celibacy journey and just
Mm-hmm.
even with your family or friends, these changes. So what do you think were the 3 biggest hurdles for you to get over that maybe other men can resonate with? And possibly women too, but I want, your perspective coming from you.
Oh, to get over, I would say I'm still getting over. I literally got like 2 hard conversations that I feel like I need to have with a couple people in my life, like this upcoming week or whenever that I need to happen ASAP. But the getting over, is a continuous thing. But I would say, like, as far as like when my spiritual awakening happened and I jumped into, consuming the way that I'm consuming and living the way that I'm living, it was not supported because you've been so used to the guy that smoke and drink and eat a certain way, and now you in a relationship with somebody like my kid's mother, like, things that we do is what connect us to people. And when you remove the weed and you remove the liquor, you start to realize, like, damn, it's not that deep of a bun. It was just that one little thing that I used to do, which is why I was hanging with you or kicking it with you. And also, a lot of people, they know, like, energetically, the power of food. And when you consume in a certain way and your vibration and your senses start to rise, like, that person is not gonna want to be in certain environments anymore. So one, there's gonna be the people that's not gonna want you to change because they consciously know that's gonna change. And also there are people that's kind of like, just for the sake, like, yo, damn, like, what are we gonna do now? I can't smoke with you anymore. I can't drink with you anymore. So I had to go through the process of choosing me. Yes, I have
All
two.
right. So is there 1 or 2? So one is gonna
That's
be your
one.
support system.
The support
Okay.
system.
I just want to make sure
Like,
these are measurable, and because people listen
hmm
and they're like, okay, these are the things I know I'm gonna go through. So
so
support.
number one
Okay.
is your support system.
All
The
right.
people that were supporting you when you were living a certain ways, when you changed your life, when a lot of those people are not going to be comfortable supporting you anymore because the you that they done got used to, you're not that person anymore. So your support system is gonna have to change. And then number two, you're gonna have to choose you. Because that's what I had to do.
So no people
Because no
pleasing and
people pleasing or none of that.
boundaries.
Because I initially, when I went on my journey, I relapsed a lot of things. I'm trying to work it out with you. You're not comfortable, you're not supporting you. You used to make me this and that of food, and now you ain't making me a salad no more because you or salad because you ain't rocking with that. You ain't making me a vegan food because you're not exactly because you ain't supporting me with that. You would have been happy to make me some mac and cheese or whatever, but now this lifestyle, you're not supporting it. And I know, like, energetically, like, two different frequencies cannot coexist in the same space for too long without there being any friction. So, like, and I'm like, yo, you're gonna have to choose. Like, you can either stay in this space and be someone that you don't want to be and pleasing others, or you can either choose you and become the best version of yourself because nobody can have you if you don't have yourself. So I rather lose my whole everything that I created, everything that I thought I was, and and allow the new me that I see, the universe, God, or whatever label people want to give, to the the force, the higher power that be, to become that new me. And so it is. And those people, whenever we cross paths, you'll experience a better version of myself than I was before. So, number one, the support system is going to change. Number two, you're going to have to choose.
Stand on
You're
business.
going to have to stand on business. You're going to have to choose
Boundaries.
you. You're going to have to watch yourself in a way dying. Like, I had to watch myself die. There was a version of me. I liked it, the version of me getting high and tapping in with multiple different goddesses and living a certain way and selling weed. It's not that I didn't like it.
Not
I
tapping in with multiple goddesses.
I'm just saying, it is what it is. Like,
To me, that tapped in
the tapping in with multiple goddesses.
I watch it when you be listening to these spiritual men, because you be like, oh, that sound good. What was that?
Tapping in, tap in. Tap into something wet, like, but yeah, tapping in with multiple goddesses. Like, it's not that, oh, I didn't like that guy. I love that guy. I had a ball being that guy. But, something happened and I evolved and I don't resonate with that guy anymore. And there was a point in time where I was trying to hold on with that guy because I didn't understand this new guy that was trying to surface and become. So
Come
in a
taking
way,
over.
I had to watch myself die, and I was the one that was killing myself. And initially, I had to, put the bullet to him and like, yo, bro, you're done. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, your support system is gonna change. You're gonna have to pick you, and after you pick you, you're gonna have to let go and kill that version of you that you so scared to let go because you're so familiar with him. You had your patterns set up, and be open, to everything else that new version of yourself, got for you.
All right. Well, what's number 3?
Hmm.
Make
Number
it good. Make it go.
number number 3, I would say after you notice everything with your support system, and after you done chose yourself and you done let go, you have to also realize that you're not in you're especially for me, that you're not in control.
End of the episode. Boom, right there. That's it.
Like, you're not in control, because like you can have you can have
Mm.
the plan to do that, you can have the vision board, you can. But it's cool because we live in this
Yeah,
reality of
yeah,
planning 1+1 = 2 and so plus that.
yeah.
But but I didn't know I was gonna do this podcast today,
Hey,
and I'm here having a ball doing it. Like,
spirit was working on my side.
exactly, like spirit. Spirit be spiriting, and
Spirit
you're
do
gonna
be
have to let
spirit in.
spirit.
You
You feel me? Like, seriously, that's another thing. Like, that's
know that
number
control.
3. Like, yes, you done find out who you are, you thriving, you feeling good about the new version of yourself, but there's someone else that's looking like, yeah, I'm responsible for that new you. And you're gonna have to keep letting me be responsible for what I wanna do with that new you.
Yeah, I feel that.
You know?
I battle with control every day. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's a dominant part of me for sure. It's the woman part for sure. That Aries in there strong. That
Mm-hmm.
Leo part in there strong. That
Say it
Virgo in
again.
there
Strong.
strong. But I have learned that how I talk to myself, and that's the journey I'm definitely on this year, finding new words. What I realize is I don't know enough words to talk about what's going on in a way that I'm not putting down certain parts, but also letting how I feel be valid. And so I've learned that some of those things that take on control, there's a time and a place for them. And if I let go of enough control, then my life is guiding me to a place where those gifts will have a space to flourish, and it'll give me all the things that I desire to feel, whether that's coming from myself or coming from my support system or whatever. And also understanding that everybody's path is different, and I've walked a lot of this path alone. And just understanding more about my chart, where I come from, and why I come from these places, and what's happened before me, I understand the karmic things that are ending, and so having more understanding has really helped me. But we're going to transition because
I thought we wasn't.
we,
I was going
we
to keep,
gotta transition.
like,
We just gotta bring you back.
you
Even if,
know.
when you move to Atlanta, we'll be able to have you on the show all the
Oh
time.
no, so
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
Huh?
I see what you did there. I
Well,
like that. Mm-hmm. The words are very powerful.
I
You
like
know.
that,
Take that, yeah, lady.
So we're gonna get into the sex tip of the day.
Ooh.
So you gotta make it a little spicy. So the sex tip of the day is to pay homage to Sexual Essentials, my very first business that has made all of these things possible. It was my entryway into my spirituality, my gifts. It was a way that I was comfortable being reached. And so, and but we got to talk about these spiritual journeys and how everything just stopped flowing. Like all these tapping, ain't as much tapping when you get tapped into your damn self. But that's another topic for another day. But
It could be a lot of tapping.
is it,
It's,
you know how much work it takes? You know what? Let me wash
a
my
lot of
words.
a lot of work that it takes energy to everything. Sitting down takes energy. So
I'm talking about it. I need the right cosmic energies to find me. I'm right here. Right there.
Okay.
Look
I
here.
feel that too. Want to be tapped by the right energy,
You do. You do. So it can be a continuous.
You know.
Continuous. Okay. All right. So the sex tip of the day is where we do shed a little light, talk about something a little spicy. And so I want to know, how has vegan changed your sex life? What's up? What's
Ooh.
up? Because
I would say vegan totally changed my sex life because like I would say, previously I was tapping into
tapping.
different goddesses. I tell people, I don't live multiple lives, within this, few decades and all that,
Been around.
I did my thing.
All right, you did your thing. You did
I,
your thing.
I had my fun, but I would say, as far as like veganism and the spiritual awakening for sure has like changed my life like a whole lot because I've practiced celibacy,
Hello.
quite I did from 2017 to 2020. I did the whole 3 years.
I was about to say
Like
that
no
sounds like 3 years. It
masturbation,
sounds
no
like you said
talking to people,
no
no nothing.
masturbation.
Yeah, like literally, I didn't talk to nobody. I didn't text nobody. I didn't flirt. I literally tapped in and like,
Wow, no
cause
masturbation. You got
and
there.
honed in on me for a while, like
Mm.
no releasing whatsoever. But yeah, veganism has changed my outlook on a lot due to the fact that when you start changing the way you eat energetically, things start to change. Like the chemical reactions that you used to have within you before is not the same chemical reactions that you having within your within yourself. And also a lot of people don't know when your vibe changed, the people that you was attracted to, you're not attracted to those type of people anymore. And when you're operating and you consuming like everybody else is good consuming, you're gonna be attracted to what everybody else is attracted to. And now when you change certain ways that you eat, like the stuff that you attracted to is not that much of it out there. So that alone is but my options of my tapping options and then I got I'm in the
Got it a little
tapping pool that got
smaller.
a little smaller. So that for sure changed. And I also, as far as like, who I share myself with, my energy and all that stuff with, I became conscious and aware of that also. So before, previously, I'm having fun, I'm chilling. It's giddy B, and I like you, but I realize, I can do other things like, like manifest and also, use my energy to create and do other things. So that has changed a lot, but also I feel like my sex life has gotten better in a way because it's kind of like smoking weed. Like you smoke your blunt for the first time, and the second time you smoke it, you super high, and then you start doing it constantly over and over. You don't get that same high, that you used to until you take
Yeah.
a break, and then you get high again, and you're
See?
like, damn,
See?
that's
Then folks
that.
start escalating
Yeah,
and
exactly.
they looking for
That's what I'm
that.
talking about. It's the it's the same thing as sex. When you start, using your energy for other things, and you start preserving your energy and watching who you lay down and sleep with, the experience become better because you consciously know who you tapping in with. Like
Yeah.
you
It's
wanna
very
do this, and
intentional.
you're not just doing it to fulfill an aspect of you that you haven't worked on, and you just using
Yeah.
sex as like it's a drug or something. Like I'm
Yeah.
just like you just. I'm just using you like you basically just a bag of dope to me right now. I'm feeling some type of way. I'm stressing. I'm emotional. Come here, like it's all. I mean, it done got a little bigger than that. So whenever I do
Yeah.
experience that, I get fully experience you. Like, cause one of the reasons that I decided to go celibate and from 2017 to 2020 for those 3 years, I had an
Then
experience.
COVID came back.
And
Then
then
COVID
COVID came
came.
in. And it's funny because I started getting it in during COVID, like, and I didn't catch it. So, you know, nah, I had an experience like that I never had before, like prior, probably what 2016. I tapped in and connect with somebody. It was like a one time thing, like you feel me? I, went down on her or whatever, but I tasted her in a way that I've never tasted somebody before. Yes,
Amen.
ate a little yoni, you did your thing, but her, I felt like I didn't just taste her. I felt like I tasted her whole being, like her
What
body, her
that tastes
thoughts, her
like?
spirit, and I didn't like it. I didn't like
Oh.
what I tasted, and that's what I was like, oh nah, this ain't the fun that I had before. I just had a totally different
Oh,
experience.
you did say
So now that I'm eating
2016.
clean and I'm
Mm.
meditating and I'm doing all those things, I'm like, nah. I just had a whole totally different experience. Whatever her essence and whatever she said, I don't like that, and I need to get that about my system.
It took him to celebrate.
Seriously, like I had a
He said, I did it clean.
nah, I didn't like the way like that, you know,
You
and
knew too much.
and by the way, if the person, you know, you might know who you are and watching this, but it is what it is. Like, you know, you gave me an experience that led me to a whole nother journey that I needed to tap into myself. But yeah, like, you know, but
Yeah.
sex has been great.
I
You
love
know,
that for you.
it's been, you know, of course, you know, you still has that beast within you that you want to conquer, put your foot on somebody's neck and get wild and all that,
Hey,
you
that's a
know.
good. You can
Exactly.
put
Like
foots on
I do
necks.
that too, but you
I'm
know,
sorry. Tell us more.
I get to you know, but I get to be intimate. I get to experience new things. I done try things I never did, you know, like doing affirmations while having sex and speaking life to one another and, you
And
know,
why you
sex magic
masturbate?
and practicing semen
Oh,
retention, you know. But then again, you know, like the lower chakra need to this, you know, the root and the sacral gonna do what they do, and when we need to do what we do, you know, and the choking and the foot in your
we
neck
to
and
the
the
root
spit
and
in
the
your mouth, and we're
sacral.
like, we're gonna do all that. Like,
You're too dirty for
oh,
me.
now I'm saying, but that's another thing. People be thinking, you know, because you consume it a certain way, or
That
the
you ain't
crystals
feel.
that you ain't got a sense of humor, or you can't go in there and do what you need to do. Nah, this ain't that.
Yeah,
This ain't that.
I love that for you.
Mm-mm.
All right. So before we get you up out of here, we got to end with the spiritual tip of the day.
Mm-mm.
So, and thank you for sharing all of that. Love that for you. But the spiritual tip of the day is similar to the adult tip of the day because spirituality can be something that's a lot to digest at one time. And I think a lot of people, really shy away from it because they don't understand. And so, like you said, we get these awakenings and we go through these things and your words start to change even on your own. Like you start saying things like, oh, they're a light. And the other
Mhm,
person like, where the switch at? What you talking about? Like
mhm,
you don't ever bring people up with you and I'm not saying that it's done intentionally or anything, but we're all getting accustomed to like what you know now and how you continue to teach, right?
mhm,
And so the spiritual tip of the day is just for us to break down one concept, something that could be astrology, it could be crystals, it could be an affirmation or just anything that I feel that was landed on me by spirit.
mhm,
Um, and so today I want to talk about spiritually listening to your body. For me, that has taken a lot. Spiritually listen to my body has been a process. And it was ways that I didn't realize my body was even numb that it was. And once you start listening to your body and you start giving into the changes that you want to see, you become more sensitive overall. The things that feel good feel great. Like now you don't have that buffer of bad energy that needs to be released or this maybe energy that just isn't for you. But also the bad can feel worse because you're just open. You're vulnerable. You're just there. You're like I'm not trying to control keeping the bad stuff away from me,
mhm,
right anymore. Um, and just learning to listen to your body because sometimes your body tells you where to start. It tells you where to start on your journey. Like so, sometimes you guys look in the mirror, or let me just say, not even you guys, me. When I first started changing, I didn't like how I looked. It wasn't technically. I'm probably the same size as I was then when I didn't like it, but this is a different energy to the
different
feels.
feels,
Like
yeah.
this is something that I love this size. I love this. Like it's a different energy into to maintaining and keeping myself this way. But before when I didn't like it, I started there. That's all I had access to. If I had any more, I would have fucked it up. Right. I started there, how I felt and the way that it made my body feel. I knew that I was going in the right direction because even the way that I orgasm felt different when I started exercising or when I started eating certain things or changing what I was digesting, just being done with soda or little things. And so I know a lot of people will listen and say, veganism is a large jump, but nobody's telling you to start there. That's not where you are. Start with listening
Mhm,
to your body. And that goes not just with what you're putting inside it, but who you're around. When you get around and your mind now you can't think, you can't concentrate, or you get too excited or things like that. It's telling you something. Everything that you feel is valid, but it does take time to decipher because everybody's dictionary of what these feelings mean for themselves is different. So I would just love for you to maybe just leave us off with a couple of things that maybe that your body does for you, whether it's letting you know when to do something, letting you know when to check your DMs to get invited on a show randomly,
exactly.
or if it's, what I really like, how do you know when you do the right thing? Like, what do those feelings feel like for you? How do they show up for you?
I feel like everybody should honor the fact that, you know, we are a bunch of worlds intertwined. Like, you know, the same way that this body is trying to, you know, control this microphone and all of that. There's something inside the body that's trying to control the body, and there's there's another thing that's, trying to control the spirit for all those things to be done. And I feel like, like you were saying, in regards to control, a lot of us, forget about all those things. We just look at ourselves like, like we just the Toyota, like we just the vehicle. Like we forget about, the actual thing that's driving the vehicle and what is powering that actual thing, that is driving the vehicle. And food is one of the tools, well, not one of the tools, the most important tool, because the number one rule of spirituality is what you consume. And what you consume is not just, what you put in your mouth, what you consume with your eyes, what you consume with your nose, the products that you put on your skin, your largest organ. All those things are going to affect you in ways like physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Like, from your sex drive to the way that you view things and how you're operating and all that. So you have to free yourself, understand yourself in a way, and decide like who you want to be. Like, because like food being the number one tool, and like we also are the only beings on this planet that is able to operate, from different spectrums and different frequencies like other animals can't. And I'm not one of those people that, even though I haven't ate cooked food, I've been raw vegan for 4 years or so, that preach that you have to be raw vegan or
Right.
vegan in any way, because like we literally have the choice to be who we want to be. And food is one of the tools that will make you operate a certain way. I wouldn't tell somebody that's going to war to Iraq to eat raw vegan food. I wouldn't tell a boxer to do that. I wouldn't tell an NFL player to do that,
Right.
because you have
They
to
may
be
not feel
operating
good.
in a certain state out of your, the beast part of yourself for you to operate, in that field. So you have to choose the type of person that you wanna
To be.
be, and
Yep.
that you need to be for your environment. And then now the stuff that you consuming, with your ears, just like a boxer, they're going into the ring, they got their theme music when they going
Yeah.
outside, like they getting ready. And now that's a way of you feeding your ears. Like, the eyes are the windows to the soul. Like the stuff that you watching is gonna nurture you in a certain way, shape, or form. And the food, so it's all up to you. Do you wanna, do you want to operate in beast mode? Do you want to be on, on
And
demon time all day? Or do you want to operate from your higher self all day? There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can consume to put you in a state that you need to be. But majority of people, are somewhat lost in a way. They just live in whatever mode they end up in. That's what they
that's what I
operate in. Like,
yeah.
and you can put yourself in a way, whatever mode that you put yourself in, that's what spirit is going to use. You give me a
Mm.
piece of shit car, that's what spirit is gonna drive. You give me a Lamborghini, that's what spirit is gonna drive. So what do you wanna be? Do you want your body to be a Bugatti, or do you want your body, to be the hoopty with the, the a Dunkin' Donuts cup in the garbage
Oh,
and
I
all of
hate
that,
Dunkin' Donuts.
um, and the Dunkin' Donuts cup and all that inside of it. So my thing is to simplify everything, because a lot of people, they take something very simple and they make it complex, and they act like that's what a genius is. A genius is making something, that seems very complicated, and you simplify it to the point where a baby can understand it. It's not complicated. Like, you are everything that you need to be. This spiritual stuff, the sage, the candles, and all that stuff, like these things are just tools. This crystals is just
Mhm.
decoration. Yes, if you give them meaning the same way this is an onyx, you could say it's for protection and all this stuff. But if you decide to give it another new meaning, and then you say this thing is what keeps me wealthy, and like I promise you, you
Whatever
wholeheartedly
you put
believe
your
it, and you
energy
got
into,
your onyx with you every day, you're gonna be
putting
wealthy,
that
because
energy.
that's part of your inner knowing. You have to know that, like, you are it, like you complete, and you don't need nothing. These things are just tools, and just like the way these things are just tools, you can also be a tool, and people will use you as a tool depending on
Yeah.
how you're operating and where you're coming from energetically. So what you want to meet, you want to be, the person that's in charge of your whole
I'm
existence,
trying to
or
be
you
a
just want to
being.
be a tool that even you using yourself as a tool, and everybody else, is using you. So I would say, to allow everything that you are to just be, because you're already whole and complete.
I heard that. Well, I appreciate you so much. I enjoyed this conversation. And before we let you up out of here, we're gonna get your socials. I'm gonna do some, do the minutes, run
Mhm.
down, the announcements. Don't cut it off. Don't cut it off. Please make sure that you guys go on the YouTube. A new show, I Am Home, has dropped, my van life vlog, and so it is a different part of me. And I just, it has been time. If you guys haven't listened to the last solo where I announced this, I will drop it below. But it is a show about me living in the van and really coming home to myself, but also the tools that I've been using and just how I've been discovering, how I've been navigating um, to become the best version of me. And yeah, just being transparent because, like you said, it is something that's pretty simple. But a lot of people don't think they have access to it because they just don't know. And this can be used for you to move into a tiny home space or just for you to travel and see more things. There are a lot of beautiful things in this crazy ass country. But some of them you can't get to because a flight doesn't just land there. Sometimes you need to road trip. Sometimes you need to camp. Sometimes you need to backpack. And those are some of the most amazing experiences that I've ever had in all the places that I've traveled. So I just want to make sure that I share that information with you guys. So I'm really excited about it. I hope that you guys check it out. The link is below. And before we get up out of here, you have to bless us. Tell us where the folks can look right into this camera right here. And tell the folks where they can find you, how we can support you. And we will drop those links below so that they have access to them. So
Yes, Paul's Law. You can find me on all platforms. Instagram, Paul's Law. That's PAULS period LAW. TikTok is Paul's Law, PAULSLAW _ Facebook, Paul's Law, PAUL apostrophe capital L capital A capital W, and same thing on YouTube. And I do have a Twitter, but I'm not active on there at all.
I feel that. We'll drop your link down there. And
And
it has
also
your hats.
and also the merch, you can find it on wooshwear.com, and that's WOOSHWEAR.com. And as far as the herbs for anything that you may need to heal, you can find it on UnitedSpiritsPharmacy.com, and that's pharmacy with an FFARMACY. And or you could tap the link in any of my bios on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and book a consultation if you want to speak to me face to face in regards to healing anything.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you again. Thank you. I'm very proud of you. I'm happy for you. And I'm just glad that you're doing this. To even be recommended your page from another man, it means that folks are listening. And they are finding, someone that they want to listen to that they resonate with. And so I'm very happy for you. And I appreciate you coming by. So we'll have you back when you move to Atlanta. So
Hey, I'll definitely come back when I move to Atlanta. I'm speaking it into existence. She's speaking it into existence. You know what that means? That means it's already done. And it was a pleasure tapping in. I had fun. Thank you guys for the invite, and I'm looking forward to next time.
All right. But thank you guys so much. Please make sure that you click the links below to support. I love y'all. I appreciate you guys for making this a safe space. And I will see you next time. Thank you.